And now that you have your mission and value statement, you have your updated content and your updated design, then it's time to start looking at the subtle changes that you can make to your promotional efforts. So for most small businesses that I work with, we don't tend to do huge, grand PR campaigns. We'll do smaller PR campaigns, and they also focus heavily on social media. So because I know that this webinar is definitely geared for small businesses, solopreneurs, we're going to focus on social media when we're talking about rebranding. So these are just some things to keep in mind when you are rebranding. Again, to make sure that you keep that consistency throughout. Your username. So ideally, you want to make sure that your Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram accounts all have the same or similar usernames. Now, believe me, I know this is very difficult these days because it's kind of like URLs a few years ago where it's just a land grab and there are so many companies now who are just grabbing up names. But try to make it as consistent as possible. So if you've changed your business name at all, now's a great time to update your social media usernames. Your avatar and your profile photo. This is something that I think a lot of small businesses don't put enough stock into, and it really does affect the kind of audience that you attract. So it's a great time to look at your avatar and profile photos when you are rebranding. Take that newly redesigned logo that you might have and update your social media profiles. Or your profile photo, for instance, maybe your company used to cater to formal large corporations. So you had the traditional portrait photo, the portrait headshot, with the gray background that looks like, my kids' backgrounds for their school pictures. And maybe that worked really well to attract the former clients that you wanted. But maybe now you're moving into a more creative clientele. So now is a great time to have those new headshots taken for your profiles. Make them more vibrant, edgy, stylized. Again, remember that visuals speak volumes. So never underestimate the power of attracting the right or the wrong. You can also attract the wrong clients with your social media profile photos. And then we go into your bio. This is where your keyword changes truly can make a tremendous impact. Personally, I actually update my bios regularly to suit current business needs, and I do the same thing for all of my clients. Some of them, their bios may only change once a year. However, there are others, especially the smaller businesses, where we have to continuously keep up with market demands and competition changes. I actually do work with them to update their bios at least quarterly. Some people, we update them once a month. So your bio updates may be really subtle again, and what's nice about bios is that they're super easy and fast to change, but they do have a big impact on your business success. For instance, again, using my business as a case study, if I need more design clients, if I'm just, maybe I'm heavy on social media clients and I want more design clients, then I'll go in and update my bio so that they have more emphasis on design keywords. And then I'll do vice versa. If I want to attract more social media clients, I'll just change it that way. So again, the focus on all of your rebranding is to make sure, no matter how subtle or how strong, that you are attracting the right clients. And the bios, profiles, username, all easy way to do that. And thank you, Ovalai. My Twitter account is Urban Bliss Media. I'd love to connect with some of you folks over on there. Let's see. Next, we have connections. Connections is an area of social media that I love working with small businesses on because it's, again, one of those areas that I think a lot of us tend to overlook, but they do have a big impact on our brand. So, for instance, a lot of businesses I work with don't want to integrate their personal personas with their business personas. They want to keep them separate. And in that case especially, it is extra important to take a look at who you're following on Twitter, and who you're linked to on LinkedIn, and who you favorited their pages on your Facebook page. All of those connections have a direct impact on your brand. So it's very important, especially during a rebrand. It's a great time to take a look at those connections and make sure that they're reflecting positively on your new rebrand. If they don't, And if they're not your mom or your best friend and somebody who's not going to be, or somebody who would be really upset if you unfollowed them on Twitter, otherwise, if they're not your mom or your best friend, don't feel bad about unfollowing people on social media. I'm going to give you the okay. It's completely okay because it is all about business. And so, make sure that the people you're connected with through your social media efforts are definitely aligned with your business values. Again, your new mission statement and your new value statement on there. Okay, and last but not least, certainly not least, are the people that you're connected to. And this kind of goes along with the connections on social media. But let's take it a step further. If you are going through the trouble of rebranding, no matter how small or how big, it is also really important to take a look at all of the external connections that you have out there. If you're a solopreneur or a small business owner, the message you send out in everything you do and all of the people you personally and professionally connect with can help determine the success of your rebranding efforts. Think about the kind of press you want to receive with this new image of your biz and go after those media outlets that are in line with your brand. For instance, again, using my business just because it's so easy and accessible for me to use as an example, with Event Bliss, I would do a lot more work with the mom blogs and baby blogs since that was my target audience. But now that my company is more focused on small business services, I do tend to do more guest posting on business blogs, and all of my social media rebranding efforts have resulted in more business magazines contacting me. All right, let's see. Yes, and if you do have any questions, please feel free to jump right in. Hopefully I'm not talking too fast for you. I'm a very excited talker, but definitely if you have any questions, just jump right in on the chat and shoot me any question at all. All right, so let's go back to the people that we're talking about here. The speaking engagements. A lot of small business owners, this is how you get some of your business, right? It's a great way to establish your credibility. It's a great way to make extra connections. It's a great way to get your name out there and gain more clients. So think very carefully about the speaking engagements that you choose. They say a lot about your business. So for instance, I had one client, again, the same client I mentioned earlier, who had a baby and child-focused business. When she started out with her launch, we focused on having her speak mostly to smaller moms groups, play date groups, that sort of thing. And then as her business grew, we started declining some of those requests, not all of them, because we certainly wanted to have her still meeting with those people, but we definitely started reaching out to more and more large executive groups who were more in line with her growth rebrand. And finally, the people that you hire will also speak volumes about your rebrand. And I think most of you know this, but it never hurts to say it again. Make sure that each employee, every contractor that you hire, every intern that you hire, interns are especially important hires because they are learning as they're going. And so you need to make sure that every single person that you have representing your brand truly understands your new mission and value statement and can walk the walk of your rebranded business when they go out into the world, because no matter where they are, they're representing your company. Okay, we have a question from Jules. Hi, Jules. Can you repeat what you said about how often to update your Twitter bio? Oh, Jules, most people don't ever do that. And I think that's very common that people leave their Twitter bios up there. I think it really just depends on the business. Like I mentioned earlier, I have some clients that we change their bio maybe just once a year. It's a very steady client. Her clientele really doesn't change that often. Her products and services don't change very often. So there's not necessarily a need to change her bio. We just update it just to keep it fresh and new in the search engines. So if, however, you're a small business, the bios are very much an easy way for you to attract new clients and the kind of clients that you want to attract. So I would suggest, taking a look at it at least once a quarter, maybe. It's, 4 times a year is pretty reasonable. And then there are certain clients I would say especially for retail clients who have product and inventory that changes frequently. And in addition to that, they have, let's say, a lot of sales, a lot of promotions. I would change their bios more frequently. Um, if you are having, for instance, I think a few of you on this webinar are consultants, and you offer classes and workshops, I would update your bio to make sure that that's included in there so that when people are looking for, let's say, business coaching, they're also looking for workshops and classes, include that information in your bio as well. So hopefully that answers your question, Jules. The next question we have is, how do you find speaking engagements that fit your brand, and where do you look? Oh, good question. I love the World Wide Web. It's fantastic, but at the same time, it's very overwhelming. If you search for, just do a search term for speaking engagements for, I think, any industry, you're going to come up with just a ton of hits. So where I like to look, honestly, is through social media. I use Twitter quite a bit, and I will search for instance, I speak a lot on social media, or rebranding, for instance. So I'll find the people that have those opportunities through Twitter. LinkedIn is another great space. I know a lot of small businesses tend to shy away from LinkedIn, and I would highly recommend going back to updating your profile, I would highly recommend updating your LinkedIn profile, no matter who you are, at least once a quarter. And again, that's your personal profile on there, but it is, most of you are solopreneurs or small business owners, so in some way, your LinkedIn profile is related. But going back to speaking engagements, LinkedIn is a fantastic place because there are a lot of different groups that you can join, and I've actually found speaking engagements through the groups that I've joined on there. There are women's entrepreneur groups, there are professional groups for PR, for branding, for chefs and restaurateurs. I mean, no matter what your industry, there are a lot of groups you can join, and there are almost always speaking engagement opportunities that are posted through there. So hopefully that answers that question. There are, of course, a million other places to look, but personally, for myself and for my clients, social media has been a fantastic resource for speaking engagements. Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay, well, I will let you type in those questions. If you do have any, definitely feel free to jump right in. Let's see, so we talked about contractors and interns, and basically for small businesses like ours, I'm assuming most of you are small businesses. If you're not, feel free to jump right in if you have a question, if you have a large corporation that you work for, and you want to consider rebranding, definitely happy to answer those questions as well. However, for small businesses, a rebrand doesn't have to be this huge, full-scale, expensive, drawn-out event. While it should still be a thoughtful process, all of the steps that I've outlined today are definitely manageable by any solopreneur within any time frame you choose. So again, this is really just a short overview of some rebranding strategy. If you would like more in-depth info and assistance, I am always available for strategy consultations via Skype or via phone. And if you are in the Portland area, hopefully it's okay to do a little plug here because it is related to this topic, but I'd love to invite anybody in the Portland area to a networking event that we have on Tuesday, October 23rd, aptly titled The Mother of Reinvention, and it's actually featuring a panel discussion of local women business leaders who have successfully gone through different transitions, all different kinds of transitions, and subtle rebranding, both with their companies and also with their professional personas. I know that that can sometimes be a tricky thing, and actually also sometimes a reason that people will rebrand is because they're going through, something personal in their lives as well. Maybe they're changing their target audience because they have always focused on baby and kids, maybe their blog is changing because their kids are growing up. So that event, thank you so much, Olai. They've got the link on there for you. It's October 23rd. Great chance to connect with other women entrepreneurs as well. And so I'm going to stick here for just another minute if anybody has any questions.